So a lot of people keep on getting it wrong about Trump had no, Trump was a actual pro Second Amendment individual, or he was a the most pro Second Amendment president that we ever had. Trump never did no act of gun control ever. Is it? And the whole bump stock order executive, yeah, the bump stock executive order, right? For what people are saying, just goes to show people didn't actually read that executive order. They just saw the term bump stock and they were just gonna be banishing I mean, they was just gonna be making bump stocks illegal, even though making bump stocks illegal is still gun control. But people saw that name and they didn't actually read the executive order, and people have got it dangerously wrong about what Trump actually was and what the executive order was, right? So, don't just take it from me. Some individuals don't believe this. We're gonna actually watch one of Young Rebel 59's videos. Shout out to him about what the bump stock order actually was, because this is who I got the information from about the bump stock order, and then I actually checked out the executive order myself and see, like, yeah, this was a very dangerous bill that could end up even getting people semi-automatic rifles taken away if they added some sort of attachment that increased the fire rate, and the government could categorize it as a machine gun, and they could bust down your damn door and take the gun, or what happened with some red flag laws that got literal people killed, right? So we're gonna go with this and see what exactly people got wrong about Trump and the Second Amendment, right?
So people were mad at Kyle Rittenhouse. Why? Because he pointed out Donald Trump's inconsistency on the Second Amendment, and he said that he was going to write in Ron Paul for president. Now, many were going crazy about it because they felt he owes allegiance to Donald Trump. Since then, though, he's tweeted that his opinion was ill-informed and that he's back to supporting Trump. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is what I found funny. People from the MAGA side, they literally bullied Kyle Rittenhouse into changing his stance, right? That's what they did. They can say, like, "Oh, we ain't bullying him. We just had to teach him a lesson about not going against Trump." No, that's what they did. They bullied Kyle Rittenhouse on the internet. I mean, just go to show, like, yeah, no. Kyle Rittenhouse was very weak in this stance. He should have held his ground. The man was worried about the backlash because people think that Trump is owed his vote because of he was behind him during that whole BLM riots when he literally defended himself from people that was trying to end his life. So Trump is automatically owed his vote. Nah.
Hey, so the tribalists got exactly what they wanted and they put him back in line. But I do think that this is a great opportunity to talk about Trump and the Second Amendment. This goes without saying, but there were some things that Trump sucked at. Trump, the Congress, and Biden are to blame for the lousy spending efforts. Operation Warp Speed may be the most egregious thing that Trump did, but the bump stock ban was pretty terrible. I think the blow was softened because the public referred to it as a bump stock ban. It made it easy for people to say, why would anybody use a bump stock anyway?
Right.
People didn't actually read it, so people neglected to mention how terrible it was. The Supreme Court recently struck down some of it, but it does not change the intent. He pulled the whole "we are protecting the kids" things that we grill leftists when they react to a mass shooting. But don't take my word for it. I'll directly quote the summary of the final rule directly from the Office of Public Affairs. The Department of Justice is amending the regulations of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF, to clarify that bump stock type devices, meaning bump fire stocks, slide fire devices, and devices with certain similar characteristics, are machine guns as defined by the National Firearms Act of 1934 and the Gun Control Act of 1968, because such devices allow a shooter of a semi-automatic firearm to initiate a continuous firing cycle with a single pull of the trigger.
So right here, if the government categorized the weapon as a full, if you add an attachment to a semi-automatic weapon that can increase the fire rate the government could literally categorize it as a fully automatic gun. Thus, they could come bust down your goddamn door and confiscate it, whether you like it or not. Now, there's going to be some resistance because you do possess the firearm lawfully and you're not hurting anybody. You're just probably a gun collector. But if the government says, oh, they categorize it as a fully automatic machine gun, they can confiscate it. They can confiscate it. Right here.
Specifically, these devices convert an otherwise semi-automatic firearm into a machine gun by functioning as a self-acting or self-regulating mechanism that harnesses the recoil energy of the semi-automatic firearm in a manner that allows the trigger to reset and continue firing without additional physical manipulation of the trigger by the shooter. Hence, a semi-automatic firearm to which a bump stock type device is attached is able to produce automatic fire with a single pull of the trigger. With limited exceptions, the Gun Control Act, as amended, makes it unlawful for any person to transfer or possess a machine gun unless it was lawfully possessed prior to the effective date of the statute. The bump stock type devices covered by this final rule were not in existence prior to the effective date of the statute and therefore will be prohibited when this rule becomes effective. Consequently, under the final rule, current possessors of these devices will be required to destroy the devices or abandon them at an ATF office prior to the effective date of the rule. Some people that have short memories may act like Trump had nothing to do with this, but if you further read, it does say that the president issued a memorandum to the attorney general concerning bump fire stocks and similar devices. And it specifically states that the president then directed the Department of Justice, working within the established legal protocols, to dedicate all available resources to complete the review of the comments received and as expeditiously as possible to propose for notice and comment a rule banning all devices that turn legal weapons into machine guns.
Right there. Right there. It's what this is what some us libertarians, and even some conservatives that saw this executive order, even though they tried to ignore it, this is what we try to say. This is what the executive order was. It wasn't just a bump. It wasn't just a bump stock ban. Who cares about a bump stock ban? It's just a bump stock ban. No, if you have actually read this executive order, it was a lot more worse than that. If you had any sort of attachment that you put on your semi-automatic and it may increase the fire rate, the government can categorize it as a fully automatic machine gun and they can come bust down your damn door and confiscate it without your consent. This is what someone was talking about when they said, when someone said from the Monterey's, from the philosophers, from the Eric July, from any libertarian that's actually for gun rights, we have called this out a long damn time ago. But people didn't actually. I mean, it just goes to show that people don't actually read what some of these politicians put in place. That's the same thing the left does. They just see the title of an order or a bill and they think, oh, this bill is going to help. It's going to help black folk when it pertains to voting rights. No, those voting rights are not for black people. Those voting rights are for illegal immigrants. That's the problem. Actually read these bills that they are putting in place.
It can't be any more clearer than that. He messed up.
So to recap, it references two of the worst forms of legislation and the largest infringements on your beloved Second Amendment, the National Firearms Act and the Gun Control Act. Anybody that claims 2A should be trying to abolish them, but Trump had the nerve to validate them. Secondly, it basically sets precedent that they can ban anything, including attachments that speeds up the rate of fire just by classifying it as a machine gun. Third, it appeals to the leftist argument that something should be made illegal just because arms have improved over the years. This is the founders only had muskets argument. Oh, my bad, I thought it was arms and shall not be infringed. And fourth, it turned a bunch of the owners into felons overnight because they were required to destroy or abandon it. Again, two things can be true. Trump can be a better option, even on this issue, than Kamala. So strategically, some are going to say you should support him anyway. He's the lesser of the evils, and it's the election of our lifetimes, as it always is. So that said, would it not make more sense to ensure that Trump reverses his position? To my knowledge, he hasn't apologized regarding Operation Warp Speed and the jab. He even continued to brag about it. He hasn't walked any of that back. So to me, it doesn't make as much sense that some people were more angry at Kyle than they are at Trump on the Second Amendment. This gives him no incentive to change, as nobody is holding his feet to the fire. It's the same way each year. Republicans will say that it's a vote for Kamala, and Democrats will say that it's a vote for Trump. That is, if you're supporting the candidate that they don't like. Kyle should have been more knowledgeable on Trump's failure long before this year. This is why you shouldn't take this as defense of Kyle. It'd be awesome if everybody did research instead of blindly supporting their candidate.
Right.
You would have a much stronger candidate, and even if it's Trump, if you at least ensured that they could course correct, well, that's a better option, is it not? You're gonna support him anyway, right? It'd be admirable if he just flat out came out and said that he got it wrong on those two core issues. Acknowledging this does not mean that Kamala is a better option in comparison, but ignoring the failure only emboldens politicians to pay lip service to issues, and they're gonna have your vote regardless. Any pushback is met with whataboutism and referencing how bad the opponent is.
Right.
That's the part that's illogical. You're going to throw every bit of support at them because you fear the opposing party. So does it not make sense to at least get the core issues correct and ensure that your candidate that you're going to support anyway gets it correct as well? Or are we just going to keep playing this game and you're going to put up with chicken shittery?
So, once again, it's just, hey, some of us try to say, like, yo, it wasn't just a bump stock ban. Actually read the executive order. But, hey, you know, people would just not actually do thorough research into what some of their candidates will, some of the executive orders they put in place, regardless if it's the candidate is better than the alternative, right? Guys, actually read the executive order. Some of us have tried to say, like, this was just a bump stock ban, right? But that's all I got for right here. Shout out to Young Ripper 59, aka Eric July, for this video, because I saw the tweet and he was about to go back into his political talking points, right? But like I said, just actually read the executive order. If you guys like the video, man, like and subscribe, share the video, hit the notification bell. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.